and you may be seated in the authority of Christ. We are still in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11. As I said earlier, we are on this journey of faith, and we are looking for more and more insight and understanding how to navigate this journey of faith as we encounter the trials and tribulations along the way that are designed to help us strengthen our faith, gives us opportunity to practice our faith, and give us opportunity to have faith in God. So we can be that living witness that represents God's character, love, and understanding wherever we may go. We're going to pick up where we left off last week, and we'll be starting at verse 11. And it reads, "By faith, even Sarah herself received the ability to conceive even beyond the proper time of life, since she considered him faithful who had promised. Therefore, there was born even of one man, and him as good as dead, at that as many descendants as the stars of heaven in number, and innumerable as the sand which is by the seashore. All these died in faith, without receiving the promises, but having seen them and having welcomed them from a distance, and having confessed that they were strangers and exiles on the earth. For those who say such things make it clear that they are seeking a country of their own. And indeed, if they had been thinking of that country from which they went out, they would have had opportunity to return. But as it is, they decide a better country, that is a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. By faith, Abraham, when he was tested, offered up Isaac, and he who had received the promises was offering up his only begotten son. It was he to whom it was said, in Isaac your descendants shall be called. He considered that God is able to raise people even from the dead, from which he also received him back as a type. Let the church say amen. This road of faith, this journey of faith. Verse 11 and 12 says, by faith, even Sarah herself received the ability to conceive even beyond the proper time of life, since she considered him faithful who had promised. Therefore, even from one man and one who was as good as dead, at that, there were born descendants who were just as the stars of heaven in number, and as innumerable of the grains of sand along the seashore. These verses, when we read them, as we look at the different patriots of faith, you'll see that they were all called in different situations where they had to apply massive levels of faith to trust God. And in these verses, it emphasizes the power of faith and shows how Sarah, despite being barren and advanced in age, had faith in God's promises leading to the birth of Isaac. They demonstrated that God can make the seemingly impossible possible through unwavering faith. Now let's remember the story. When God gave the promise to Abraham. Anybody remember the story when the angels first showed up? They were out in the desert and he told Abraham that Sarah was going to have a wife. Do y'all remember how Sarah responded? He got jokes, right? He got jokes. Look at me. Probably ain't interested in nothing about having a child. He got jokes. I'm going to have a child. And you remember they went on talking to Abraham, and then the angel asks, why is Sarah laughing? I ain't laughing. But that was funny. I'm going to have a child. Okay. Didn't sound like she was too faithful, did she? Didn't even sound like she thought it was true, did she? But she knew how she was supposed to respond to God. I mean, us find ourselves like that. We know what he said, but he got jokes. I ain't gonna set myself up like that. And he made it clear, by this time and such, she will conceive. Now let's look at the journey of that faith. Let's look at that journey of faith. Now when he told her that she was going to have the child, she was already past childbearing. Now, if she had faith, well, I believe they did. Because I think after having faith for about, 5 years, 12 years or so, I know exactly the number. I sense that up to that point, they had been seriously trying to do the impossible. I can't imagine what that was like. But they stuck to it. And of course, women, you know how it is. When the man tell you something he gonna do, and you got kind of timeline on when you think it ought to be happening, we have a tendency to go say, when you gonna take care of that project? When we gonna get there? You always saying you gonna do this and you gonna do that. And look, how long has it been? I just reminded you, I'm telling you this so when you move forward and you find yourself in such a place, which I know you cannot imagine such a place happening. So you don't get like Sarah and start to help God. I need to help him put a pep in his step. This ain't gonna never get done if I wait for him to come around. All the sticky notes, all the hints, all the threats, all the you don't do this, I take away that, and he still don't move. So you get smart, but I know how to move. I know the way to his heart. So Sarah goes in after trying. They did the best they could with what they was working with, right? And they came to the conclusion, we just need some different tools, that's all. We did our best. We gave it all we had. And God knows. He know we've been trying. And he ain't answered not one effort. But I got a plan, husband. This is what we do. Because we have customs in our land. If you have slaves, you have children by the slaves, they are actually your children. Because I'm assuming he done made her realize or believe you the problem. I don't know why or how he came up with that. Or why she went along with it, like that might be the answer. She said, listen. And it's good to know when you're dealing with people, when you want them to do something, you don't blame them. You take the responsibility. You hear me? Because when you do people like that, they so much more willing to help. There's no fight. Because back in the mind, I said, I knew it was you all the time. I know I'm good. So she makes the suggestion. He says, I don't know, honey. No, that just don't sound right. You know I love you and you alone. I could never do something like that to you. If God wants us to have some children, we just going to keep on trying. Because he said, you're going to have them. Forget how beautiful and tempting what your offering is to me. But my love, my love, my love, my love. I remember when you were willing to pimp yourself out for me. Not only once, but twice. You act like you was my brother and you were willing to give yourself up to these strangers to save my life. How could I ever think of such a thing for such love? I know you tried, but Lord, I'm having a problem with you thinking I would do such a thing. Because y'all know women, that's what you want to hear. You don't care who needs what. Fellas, going forward, if your wife ever tell you it's all right to go out to dinner with Mary because y'all just friends, don't do it. If she said, go ahead if you want to, that means I don't want you to go, but do what you want to do. Now, isn't that the way you would expect Abraham to do after all she did for him? She put her life on the line. She could end up being a prostitute, hung out on drugs for the rest of her life. But she chose, yes, Lord, whatever you say. So I'm sure, but as I read the story, when she made the proposition to him, he said, when you want me to start? I saw no hesitation. I saw no conversing about, is this the right thing to do or not? He just went on in and made merry and come out with a baby. See, when we're making plans to help God, you have to understand all the variables you're dealing with. Now, a slave, come on, be a slave now. Be a slave for a moment. Out in all the rough areas and the neglect and all the stuff that you would like and you don't have. And now you're being brought in the penthouse. Take the queen's seat or the king's seat. And you have the intimate pleasures of being in that place. And in your mind, you understand the power of what you bring to the table. Knowing that with the right amount of time and influence, he'll forget his name. She'll forget her name. She'll forget wherever she came from. All I need is opportunity. And so he listens. And we know the rest of the story. He was cool. Baby came, everybody happy, he happy. He think his wife happy. He think the concubine happy. But it didn't work out. So she said, listen, this woman is thinking, she done got above herself. She started acting like she the queen. Now she's looking at me with disdain in her eyes like, you ain't no good for nothing. I gave him a child, something he always wanted. And what you gave him? Misery and heartache. It won't be long, because you old anyway, I'm young. I got a lot of energy, a lot of time. I got fresh everything. Mine's not dusty. And you know, I don't think he was that mad. I wonder, did he stop after the child was born? We never know, but we know human beings. Would she have stopped trying if she was trying to be the queen? So this is the scenario that their faith took them to. But God said they were faithful. See, because we look at a situation like that, what we say? You just terrible, awful. They were just stumbling like we do, tripping over their own feet. They still believed they could have the child. Their problem was the method. You still have faith that God is going to do what he promised, but you're struggling with the methods, aren't you? You throw a lot of methods in there saying, okay, maybe this will work. Maybe this is what he means. And what do? You just like Abram. You got a mess. Now she complaining. She all been out of shape. Now she want him to fix her mess. And what he said? Am I God? Do with her what you want. So she put her out and the child, trying to solve her genius plan. She got the child, but it wasn't the right child. Brought problems into the world we still dealing with today. Are you making decisions that are bringing problems in the world that's going to plague mankind for the rest of its existence? Sometimes it's our seed. You see them in our neighborhood, right? After you've been here about 40 years, 50 years, and you got any connection with the school system, or you hear what's going on with the legal system, and you start reading those names that are always bringing up trouble in those institutions, you look back and like, what that child name? Jimmy John. Where they live at? Do they live there in such and such? Yep. Lord, child, I know what y'all dealing with. Their aunts, their uncles, their granddaddies, their great-granddaddies, their great-great-great people. They did the same thing. They've been a plague to society since they've been here. Who brought that seed in the world? I'm telling you, they can't do no better than what they're doing. Look at what they're working with. Who brought that seed into the world? What kind of seed are you putting into the world in your efforts to keep faith in God and try to accomplish the goals and objectives that he said he wanted you to do, but you stumbling through because you're trying to figure out the method, because the method that he seems to have given you doesn't seem to be working. Just because they were stumbling does not mean they didn't have faith that they were going to have the child. Just because you're stumbling and things are not working like you thought they were going to work, that doesn't mean God is not going to answer his promise to you. Faith is, even when your plan falls apart, God disappoints you, you have unmet expectations. That doesn't mean he's not with you. Faith is faith when all of that happens and you continue to trust God and believe for what you're believing for. They still believe that they were going to have the child. They just struggle in the methods in which God was going to accomplish. So what's the moral of the story? God is going to do it exactly like he said he's going to do it. But as we go through the lesson today, we're going to learn some perspectives and how to look at things to make sure we can still trust God when he does not answer you your way. God says in Scripture, "Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is anything too difficult to me?" God is at work in you, both to desire and to work for his good pleasure. Jeremiah 32:27 and Philippians 2:13. You see, the thing we have to understand is this. God watches over his word. He doesn't need you to watch over his word. He needs you to follow his word. So while you're following his word, he can watch over you. He watches over his word. That's why in our reasoning and our decision making and all that we think, do, say, and believe, it must be based on the word of God. God is going to make sure his word accomplishes its objective. The key is knowing what the objective is. The objective was for Sarah and Abraham to come into a union with one another and have a child through natural birth through that process. That was the outcome that God was looking for. And as we see the story, he watched over his word and made sure it happened just like he said it was going to happen, even though it appeared impossible when God first told them. These verses address the concept of not trusting in our own understanding. Man makes his plan, but it is God who orders out his steps. Proverbs 16:9. You make your plans. There's nothing wrong with making plans. But understand that God may do it a different way than you plan. The plan keeps you focused on the outcome. God presents different methods and ways to get there. Because of experience, we can have an idea of how we think it's going to get there. Like God may tell you he's going to bless you financially. Quite naturally, you start looking at all the options that you can think of through which he may do it. It may be some investment that you've invested in. You think he's going to do it that way. You may think it's some kind of thing he's going to lead you to do that's going to create it for you. And he'll do it as totally different. But he did it. One of the things God is trying to prove to you more than anything else, you don't know as much as you think you do. Now, isn't that our biggest challenge with God? I had such a perfect plan. I looked at all the angles. I had the what ifs, the what if nots, the other things, the what you call them, the standbys, to all the knowledge that you had that could work toward that ends, right? Plan A, plan B, plan C. Then a plan me. If none of that works, I got another plan. I'll come up with one as I get there, right? But they all fail. He's trying to show you, I don't want you operating over there. That's my job. I want you operating over here, trusting me, observing, and adjusting as you see me unfold. But we're going to figure out how we get there. If we have hope in Christ only in this life, we are of all people most to be pitied. 1 Corinthians 15:19. What am I saying? In your hopes, in your desires for life, if it's all contained in this physical realm, getting the things you like that you see, getting the things that make you feel good, making the accomplishments and getting the possessions that you want. If your life dreams and plans and decisions is based only on that, God said you are the most to be pitied. If that's as far as you can think. Why? Because all of this is going to be destroyed. Then what? Because you're going to exist forever. There is no end to you. It's only where will you end up at. But there is no end to you. If there's no end to you, you're going to always exist. What should you be preparing for? Your end or where you are right now? If you basing your life around being the age you are now, and everything you do is for you at this age, what happens when your age changes? You may not be able to do some of the things you do now at this age when you get to the next age. But if you're trying to build your life around this age, this state of being, there's going to come a point in time, we hope not, because of decline instead of inclining, you're physically not going to be able to do a lot of things. I thought it amazing a year or so ago. I was sitting back thinking, being an athlete all my life, always playing basketball, kept a basketball in my car, kept my shoes in my car, because I never knew when I might run across a good game. It didn't even have to be a good game. It just had to be somebody playing. And there were no strange neighborhoods when I was at that age. And I was thinking a few years back, doing all that activity, it's like, when is the last time I actually ran? I mean, just took off the running. I was like, man, it's been about 15 years. I was like, it's been 15 years since you ran after all that running. In your mind, it said, but you can still run. So I got outside. I was going to the mailbox. I said, I'm going to run to the mailbox. I took off like, oh my God, I can't run. That blew my mind. What if someone tries to attack you? You can't even get away. I was there in Lewisburg a couple of months ago. I went to the tire place, Pete Smith, got there early, so I'm going to go down to the biscuit place down there. What is it? Popeyes. Is it? No, not Popeyes. Bojangles. It's 2 lanes highway on this side. They're going this way. On this side, it's 2 lanes going that way. I'm on this side. I got to get to that side. So I'm like, man, there's a lot of cars coming. Am I going to ever get across here? I saw a car like, I can make that one. I can make that one. I know I can make that one. I took off trying to run across the street. I'm like, get up, come on. I made it to the middle lanes. Oh my God. They gonna hit me, man. I keep messing around out here. So I'm in the middle aisle. I got to go to the other side. Now I'm like, can't nothing be coming this time. I had to wait. Good Lord. They would have got to my car and finished by the time I get up back up there. It's like you go across that street when you don't see a car coming from either direction. I was like, oh my God. The things I do, there were people that might want to attack me. And you can't even run. Y'all saw the last opportunity over at the field. Lacola, fastest person in here. I got it. I'm an athlete. I've been working out. I'm in better shape. We had to pick the thing, to hoop up or something and run. Then I say, okay, I got it. She coming. I know Cola. She gonna get me. I said, yeah, I got it. So I thought I was zigzagging. She ran right up on me after 3 steps. Well, I guess running is out. Lacola. I knew I was going to be a long-term candidate in that game. First one to get out. My feet felt like lead. Like you in quicksand. I ain't never been in quicksand a day in my life. But I just knew I was throwing the moves on her because I can move. I was moving in one spot. God knows how to humble us. Trust him. Don't you ever depend on running, helping you, or saving you. Put your faith and trust in me so I can protect you, buddy. Don't you try to live today where you were back yonder. You won a 4.25 back when you were in high school. Now you run a 4 hour and 15 minute 40. Don't you let your mind fool you. So what he's trying to tell us about faith, put it all on God. Fix it so when your enemies come running at you, they go running back 7 ways and you can watch them and you don't have to run. That's what he's offering us. But what are we putting our faith in? Our skills, our ideas, our past experiences, thinking that they can work today? Well, for a rude awakening, you're going to be your worst enemy. And your captor's going to say, all you had to do was outrun me. You had a chance. Why didn't you? I wasn't fast enough. Because I was depending on my own understanding, my own capacities, not realizing that they had deserted me and were never designed to keep me, but it's God. Faith has no expiration date. Whatever you have in faith in, you're supposed to still have it. It is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. The just shall live by faith. They endure until the end. You may be having faith in God for something that hasn't happened yet. Just keep on doing what faith tells you to do, not what your thinking and reasoning and your human nature is telling you to do. Because we continue to abort the ship of faith and never develop consistent faith because we won't stay faith in the thing long enough for it to manifest itself. And sometimes we right at the door and we go the other way. Faith has brought you a gift, and when it opens the door, you're gone because you got another idea. Our eternal destination is a new heaven and a new earth, because this earth and heaven will pass away. It's not the streets of gold in heaven, y'all. It's not that. God is going to do a new this and a new heaven, where all the things that are valued here won't be valued there. Did you know the gold and all the fabric, the materials were never meant to be a way for you to become wealthy for your own good? They were used for creation and producing to make the world a better place. Do you realize without Africa, where all the minerals are, most of these countries would not exist in the glory and glamour that they exist in? You got the richest country in the nation, in the world, that has the poorest residents. Because outsiders come in and deceive them and giving them money for what money is supposed to be supported by. And they buy rights to their minerals, and they can't do anything with them. But they go further than that. They refuse to sell them the equipment and the technology that they would need to produce that wealth to bring their own country to its highest level of existence. The enemy is keep giving you money, cars, fame, and fortune for you to give over all of your wealth that's inside you. They program you to trust in those things and program you to fear trusting what's inside of you. When there was a time in your life, that's all you had to trust in. And you've always been able to do great things. Necessity is the mother of invention. So they try to put you in a position where you don't think you have a lot of necessity. All you need is their help. So they drug you on money, fame, fortune, and notoriety. And because they program you to be inferior towards yourself, they program you to think you need to be like them. And they're praying and hoping that you never realize all you have to do is be you. Trust God who says, I want to mine you. I want to dig inside you to show you the wealth that I put in you that will make a way for you, that will help you make this world a better place. That's the faith that we're supposed to be operating in, because we're being prepared for that new world that he created us to create here. We have an opportunity before he returns to create that culture here. We're developing a culture. It's a community of believers living a self-controlled life through the power of the Holy Spirit, characterized by righteousness and abundant living. We do that by pouring into each other, mining into each other. See, until we get to the place where you're pouring your gifts into me, I can't be the best I can be. You understand that? We've been told to be self-centered. They'll let us be successful if we do it independently. When we start trying to do it collectively, you become a serious problem, because now you've learned what the secret is. If I pour into you to help pour out you, what's in you, and you pour what is in you into me to help pull out what's in me, that's when we become our best. Until we learn as a community, all I got is for everybody in the body. But when the enemy see you got it, what he say? Hey, come on over here with us. We got a place for you. We're going to put you up here. They still taking the best out of our community to put into their community to make their community great. Why can't we be satisfied when we can make our own community great without needing their approval? Without thinking we need to eat at their table before we have arrived. We're not going to their table trying to collect any of them, are we? They constantly coming at our fields trying to find what y'all producing now. What kind of jewels y'all got out here that I can bring into my world? These guys in the athletics ain't getting it. You had that right idea to let me build my educational system. Because we know they always hinder us when we're sitting beside them. Because they have learned to work together as one. They could hate each other's guts. Come to work and work every day, 365 days a year, and on that workforce, you'll think they're the best friends in the world. They punch out, I hate you, but I ain't got to eat with you, I ain't got to sleep with you, I ain't got to live with you, and I definitely don't need your validation. We go to work, we wake up every day looking for someone to validate us. Could you imagine if all the wealth that was in our community was being reinvested in our community? Instead of cars, 20,000 square feet homes for 4 people, that you got to get an Uber to go from one end of your house to the next. Could you imagine? If we just look at the schools around here and look at how they just struggle and stay open. What if we were taking, what if every rich person, every rich short person in the world was saying, look, I'm going to put all I got back into where I came from. If you want no good, won't nobody be there trying to get you. But you know why? It's about the money. We have some people, just a mention of their name will change the stock market. And they know that, but we don't know that. Listen, man, this is about money. When we're going to bring that value to our own community? God has given us the opportunity to bring that value to our own community. It ain't about white, black, blue, or green. It's about spirit beings coming into the understanding of who they are, building the culture that they were put here to build. And because they are the ultimate existence, they don't need anyone to validate them because we are all on the same page. You are a spiritual being. You are not that vehicle you're in. You are a spiritual being created in the image and likeness of God. What trumps that? What can trump being like God? Nothing. But because of training, I can think a short vehicle is less than a tall vehicle. I can believe that a Mercedes is better than any other car. They are all vehicles made by man to create wealth. They all have an expiration date. They're designed to make you spend money. They're not investments. They're consumer items. An investment is where money, $10 don't stay $10. $10 become $100. I don't care how long it stays $10. It's not an investment. It just is what it is. If it turns to $9, it doesn't matter that it stayed $9 for 100 years. It still ain't what it was created to be. It's not an investment. An investment is, what did Jesus say? Why don't you give my money to the investors so it would work for you and make more money? I had one. How many you got? Oh, I got 5. You had 5. How many you got? 10? He just said, one said, you gave me 1 and I gave you 1 back. What he telling? You unfaithful servant. Take it from him and throw him away. He's useless for me. They program us to put value in things that have no value. And in doing that, they make us spend money that they have determined will make us look like we're successful. Why you think people wear all that gold? They've been trained to think this is how you represent your wealth. Why they want to drive certain cars? You've been programmed when you drive a car like this, it's a sign of being wealthy. No, it's the sign of you become a bigger consumer. That you're taking your resources and putting back to the people that gave it to you. So they've designed a circle that where everything always comes back to them. And we've bought into it. Even if you create your own bank, guess what happens? It eventually goes back to them. But there is a way. You could create your own personal bank, set up your own trust, understand the value of your children, and they become all valuable assets to you that you create continuous wealth where your family will never have to worry about wealth again through every single generation. If you don't understand that, your wealth will go probably 4 generations, and the 4th generation is going to end up poorer than the 1st generation. We're supporting the enemy system that keeps us in slavery. Jesus said, listen, I got a way out. Repent, For the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It has a king who's self-sufficient, who needs nothing from no one. All he needs someone is to try it out so he can free people from that rat race. But it's hard to trust God's way. How can we have a child? I'm 90-something years old. We start talking about, I guess it's 50 now, 55, 6 is like, we done. I mean, there's some surprises, of course. And most of the age praying to God, they ain't one of them. But if it happens, they'll work with it. Because they think about, in their own understanding, where would I be when they want to go run and catch and play football? When they want to run, they want to catch ball. Where would I be? I won't be able to do that if you leave God out of the equation. I left God out of the equation. I put my running on the shelf. I can get it back if I'm willing to make the sacrifices to get it back. It'll be a lot harder getting it back than it would have been keeping it. I know 80 and 90-year-old running, weightlifting, they look like they 20. You're like, oh my God, is that a Photoshop? Ain't no way they're supposed to look like that, running like that. That old lady doing what? She lifting weights. Oh my God, how is that so? She how old? 101. I got hope that I can make it, but my God, can I make it like that? It's doable. They got out of that system that was killing them. They found out plants weren't that bad. They realized there's a reason that you can do your chin like this. Check out a lion. The carnivores, see how their mouth is. They go up and down. Got the long teeth to tear it. Your stuff supposed to be grinding stuff like vegetables and fruit. See how your fingers made? They made for picking, not tearing. But we love to turn over. Hey, where that red meat at? No, you a good man, better man than me. Boy, on that, but I got to dry land. I might not have had a few stock that I had on there. We had some cows on there too. Some sausage. You'd have got to try that guy be like, Noah, Curtis, what happened? What? What happened to my livestock? Oh, I thought you had that on there for food for us. We'll fix it. What are we putting our faith in? God is trying to get us out of this system. He's showing us this process of faith of what it would take to trust God, for him to do what he said he would do on your behalf if you could just trust his methods, his way of doing it. The scripture says, and I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is among the people. He will dwell among them, and they shall be his people, and God himself will be among them. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there will no longer be any death. There will no longer be any mourning or crying or pain. The first things have passed away. Revelations 21, 1 through 8. See, what we have to understand, it says in the new heaven, the tabernacle of God is going to be dwelling among people, right? Well, in our preparation, we are the tabernacle of God. We are dwelling among the people. We're supposed to be taking God to the people, to the world. He's dwelling among us now as a type, to show us how to prepare as a type the new heaven and the new earth that's going to come. So in that, we're supposed to be developing a culture that represents the character of God, a culture of love, a culture of peace, justice and righteousness, a culture that requires no change. It inspires change. So when people come among you, they feel the love of God. They feel the freedom, the joy, the peace, and the love, they just experience it. And it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel welcome. It makes them feel like they are a part. It makes them feel like they love and appreciated and respected for how they are. For how they are. We are the tabernacle of God. You are the temple of God. And God dwells within you. We got to stop waiting for it to show up. We got to go show it by being it every day, everywhere we go. We waiting for the streets of gold and your house. Well, your house is in the new heaven and the new earth. Everybody, wait now, when am my apartment going to look like? You think an apartment? Are you serious? Apartment? You're going to have a compound where families live, enjoy and grow together. We are a type of the tabernacle of God that's among people that is spoken of in Revelation 21, 1 through 8. Effectively demonstrating unwavering faith and trust in God's promises in daily life can be achieved through consistent prayer, studying, and applying the teachings of the Bible and relying on God's strength in all our circumstances. Additionally, actively showing love and compassion to others, forgiving those who have wronged us, and living with humility and selflessness are practical ways to demonstrate faith and trust in God's promises. We are the tabernacle of God among people. You are a tabernacle of God. Wherever you go, you're supposed to be taking God into that environment. It is supposed to drive out Satan's influence in that environment. It is supposed to free people in that environment from the bondage that the world has put them in. That's why it's essential to establish relationships, so you can talk freely and share, and people feel free to share with you their most intimate situations. And because you are the tabernacle of God, living in obedience to God's word, you can give them solutions to what they're dealing with. Because the tabernacle of God has all the answers. It has healing. It has comfort. It will wipe away tears. It will wipe away fears. It can free you from death, move you into life. Life is moving into a closer relationship with God. We're not here to be some kind of magician where people can run to you and just get free from the things that bind them. That's not what Jesus meant when he was healing the sick, casting out demons, raising the dead. He wasn't painting that kind of picture. He was saying, in my kingdom, if you're in it, because of the influence of my kingdom, which is heaven, that you're bringing here to earth, just being in that environment starts to move you to life, closer to God. And all the things that come in the world from Satan slowly detach themselves from you. You start to grow into good health. You don't get prayed into good health. You start to grow into good health. You start to grow into wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You start to grow into true prosperity, where God is taking more and more care of you because you're trusting more and more in him to do it his way. As you focus on establishing this community, you establish this community by deciding, what would it take to make the perfect community? What would it take? What kind of environment would you have to create where people in that environment will grow to be peaceful people? They will stop working for money, where they will stop training their children in the ways of the world, thinking that that's how they're going to make it. to see God pull out the jewels and all the valuables that he has inside of you. Because you know what these jewels and valuables are? They are solutions to life's problems. That light is a solution to a problem. This fan is a solution to a problem. I don't know who had this idea, but look how long it's been here. How often do you look for something that will do you like this? And solve the problem. And guess what solving that problem does? It brings you wealth. You can't solve a problem when you're just spending your money to satisfy yourself. You have to have a mindset. What is wrong with this world? What is the thing in this world that stands out in my heart so much that I believe needs to change? God has put inside you what it takes to solve that problem. It's not out there. They're going to take it and use it to merchandise you with. You love it. You want to give it away, but God will make sure that you get compensated with wealth. Because you love doing it, you will do it even if it was free. And you didn't earn any money. That's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. He wants you to think it's out there. You are here to build this world. And everything I do, I'm seeking to build this culture. This culture that we're sitting in right now, it's an idea. Because I saw a problem that was represented by those situations that said they were the culture. I couldn't find peace there. I couldn't find unity there. I couldn't find anybody willing to sacrifice what this world offered to do what God wanted. I couldn't find anyone that was willing to believe that it was possible. They thought I was being self-righteous lunatic. And I tried my best for 18 years to connect somewhere in one of them, and I always became an enemy. Because I wanted to build this culture right here. You are my proof that it works. Are we there yet? No, but we are headed in that direction. And we're starting to take our time and watch love work on it. Ain't it beautiful when you see it? When you see God doing it his way, we try to step in, but now just leave it. Let's watch how it works. Because he's working through everybody. And man, it was beautiful. I was like, my God, watch that. Don't say, just see how it unfolds. No, not. I got it. I ain't doing it. I'll do it. But I ain't gonna. I got you. I got you. Then after that, God said, now let me give everybody what they want. I like, man, ain't that pretty? That's pretty work right there. We were tempted to help it. Because love didn't look like it wanted to show up. See, when we come together, love might not show up right here, but he'll show up right there. And when he show up right there, he'll help that right there. And because that love sacrifices what they want, love will come on and say, I got you. Then once they get what they want, then love will show up and say, what all y'all need? And guess what? There's extra left over. Lord have mercy. That's why I'm excited. Love works. This culture works. People love to love and they love to help because that's how God created us. Everybody ain't learned how to help like they need to help. So they have to see what it looks like. And then when you see love being challenged, through all the process, love being challenged, but then they roof, but they do what they're supposed to do. Roof. I just leave it alone, man. Good googly moogly. See, one son, the father said, who gonna go into the field of work today? Some people knew he wanted to hear. Oh yeah, Dad, I'm going in the field today. I got ya. One said, I ain't feeling it, Dad. I ain't going out there today. Guess who went? Guess who didn't go? The one that said, the one was like, roof, roof, all the way to the field. Roof, 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 roof. The one that left the dad happy, boy, you did good work today. Dad, he ain't been nowhere near that field today. Well, how all this work get done? Well, I did it. Well, I thought you told me you weren't going. Yeah, I know, roof. Roof, I know it was roof wrong. Wrong. But somehow I just couldn't follow through. Something. I didn't know what it was. Said, get out there in that field, boy. That's what love do. He didn't say you had to like it. But you will grow to like it. He just said do it. He didn't tell Sarah to tell Abraham what she told him. But he said, at least she trying. At least she trying. They're going to have to pay for that. I got that. But they ain't gave up on me yet. They still trying to figure out how to work it out. If I could just get you to the place where you stop trying to figure it out and just do it. You ain't got to know how me loving all these hateful folk gonna change anything. It won't. It'll change you. Why I need to change? So when them ugly, hateful folks come into your environment, you just gonna be, ruff, ruff, I love you. Ruff, ruff. I want to be with you. Because I know just hanging around me gonna have some kind of impact on you. Because I'm gonna stop barking after a while. Because that's what daddy do. The effort. It is the environment. Sometimes you just can't help it because there's too many people doing it. And you just fall in line. Roofing all the way. But God's will is being done. Then after a while, people will see you not roofing. You glad to do it. Because you are the tabernacle of God among men. God knew what kind of shape you was in when he made you a tabernacle. He said, watch me take this filth right here and turn it into the temple that I live in. It's going to take time. I just need them pointed in the right direction with faith in me. They can fumble, they can struggle, they can fall out, cry, shout, do whatever they need to do. As long as they get up and say, you still going. He's fixing you. He's delivering you. I mean, it was so sweet, man. It was so sweet. Just to sit there and watch it. And just see it pop up, the answer pop up without saying a word. You were trying to. Just be quiet. Let's watch it. Wow. He just had it. He had orchestrated it. I got this day planned. I wanted y'all to see me today. Watch how I work today. Watch how I'm working. Rest, relax, relax. I got this. Check it out. Sit me still. I got you. I know what's coming. I had this day planned before you woke. Become an observer. Understanding that you are the tabernacle of God among people. And God is constantly improving you because he's preparing you for the real tabernacle. So that when he comes to live among you, you already know how you need to roll. He's here now. I can just sit back and drink milk, twiddle my toes, but I don't have to be concerned about the outcome of nothing because my Father is here. The outcome is in his hand, which it had always been. It just took me a while to get it. But the question is, do you get it? And are you on the road to get it? And I believe you are. At this time, we're going to ask the young men to come forward. We're going to stop right there. Let's give the Lord a hand praise and hear some music. We're going to get ready for the communion.